Thanks, Dr. Fernandez. It has been really a pleasure to have you here. You made a long trip to be here with us. Unfortunately, I was not able to reach you in Catania for last-minute climatic catastrophic events that were on my area, and so I was not able to reach you. And again, would like just to close this kind of session, thanking really Carlos Nora for having also participated in presence. So Mark Niausen has left us, but it has been a very valuable presence, as well as Professor Margherita Ferrante in this group, and the Cancer Registry of Catania and Messina for their presentations. And so the message is that we have to make our cities a healthier place. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Prisco. I think that even with distance, we have like a pleasant contribution from your side. So thank you for have joined the session and to moderate as a chair together with Dr. Fernandez, that I similarly thank. So now let's move to the part 2 of domain 2. We will basically continue with the schedule. We anticipate the keynote of Ingrid, but now I'll give the floor to Valerio Paolini from CNR to introduce the next keynote of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Domenico, for coordinating this conference, and I am very pleased to introduce Francesco Pedracchini, for keynote speaker of this second section. Francesco Pedracchini is an environmental engineer and has a PhD in environmental sciences in University Ca' Foscari, and he works at CNR, Institute of Atmospheric Pollution Research, since 2003. He had been working for 1 year as a support of the Italian Ministry of the Environment and the Protection of the Territory and the Sea for the adoption of the European legislation and air pollution. And he's been project leader for several projects in air quality monitoring in Chinese cities in the framework of the Sino-Italian cooperation. And in details, in Shanghai, studied the impact on air quality for the construction site activities. He participated in the assessment activities in Beijing during the Olympic Games and in the city of Urumqi in Xinjiang province. Then from 2009, he is the responsible of the so-called planning department, would be the grant office in the Institute of Atmospheric Pollution Research, and actually is the project manager of several projects related to renewable energies and air pollution control in urban context at both national and international level. He's been the leader of the bioenergy team at our institute, involved in national and international projects on bioenergy and the circular economy topic. He also had been working a lot on the relations between sustainable mobility and air quality, and as well circular economy impacts and air quality. So he established several national and international cooperation with both companies and research institutions, basically on the environmental monitoring and protection. So I'm very pleased to leave the floor to Francesco, who will give us a speech on the importance of nature-based solutions and sustainable mobility for the urban air quality. Thank you, Francesco.
Thank you very much, Valerio, and thank you to all of us, and thank you for the invitation for this interesting conference. And I've prepared a presentation, and I will share my slide with you. Hope you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to give you today an presentation of the situation about air pollution in European cities. And what are the best practice to fight it, also considering the important contribution of the natural-based solutions. My institute is involved in several activities since 50 years. At the moment we are several locations and more than 150 members, plus other people such as graduates, postdoctoral students, and also scholarship holders. The institute is mainly focused on 3 fields such as anthropic impacts on atmosphere, technology for monitoring and sharing data on atmospheric pollution, and also the study analysis of global change and ecological transition. We have a lot of infrastructure, laboratories, but mobile units, aircraft, and we also have a quarter working on modeling and for atmospheric pollution impact. The air pollution is really a big problem in Europe, but I can see all over the world. At the moment, in Europe, a lot of people is affected, exposed to a high concentration of nitrogen dioxide mainly related to traffic emissions. And if we consider the limit state suggested by the World Health Organization, more than 97% of population is exposed to high level of particulate matter. We recorded an improvement of air quality during 2020 due to COVID-19 pandemic, more related to the emission of traffic. Then we states we measure a low concentration of nitrogen dioxide, but at the moment we are measuring the concentration we had before the pandemic area. So we still are inside a big problem. And these are the graphs taken by the European Environment Agency, where you can see the people affected to high level of pollution for particulate matter 2.5, 10, ozone, and other pollutants, compared to these if we apply the limit suggested by WHO. And we have also to say that recently, 1 year ago, the WHO suggested new limits, more strict for the PM 2.5 and also for nitrogen dioxide. And in the future, next months, European Commission will release a new directive on air quality, and probably we will have more pollutants to measure, and we will have for sure low levels of soft pollutant. Then we need to solve the situation. We need to improve their quality in the cities, and then we try now to understand what are the main causes and what we can do. My institute is involved in several projects. One is interesting, is named Diverse Cities, and Horizon European project. And then in this project, we are studying a new device to measure the impact, the benefit of natural-based solution, and also to engage the citizens in the monitoring and in the change of their habitat. I need also to say that the National Research Council is the lead of the National Biodiversity Field Center. This is a big center that we start activity in these days, founded with a recovery grant get by the European Commission after the COVID period. And then we will study, my institute is involved in a spoke that is focusing on the study of natural-based solution for improving air quality. Then the next year will be really interesting for the National Research Council, but also for the other universities involved to find, to analyze the data and the improvement of air quality with the natural-based solution. Now, we know that the natural-based solution has benefits on air quality. We considering the mechanical effect for the PM10. And we have also data of improvement getting China, for example, in engine. But the state of the art needs that we need to identify suitable types of vegetation. We need to study to improve the information about the soil substrate quality. We need to understand which kind of plants we need to use it in at urban level, and we need also more data and more model to define a suitable solution and to define simplified model for the policy makers. In Institute, we study the impact of the mobility on air quality. And we know that in Italy, more than in other countries, we have a high impact of mobility on air quality for nitrogen dioxide and also for some particulate matter. In the mobility area study, this is a study that we publish every year. We analyze the mobility system, which cities, and the change in terms of air quality. And it's interesting because we can see that we have huge difference in Italy between cities, between the north and the south. We know that the richness of the people affect the type of the quality of the life, and also the quality of the cars they own. This is a comparison between Milan and Naples. And you can see that in Milan we have a lot of new cars. In Naples we have more than 50% of cars that are under Euro 3. This affects the quality of the pollutants. And this is the PM10 and the NO2 register in Italian cities, an average of the last year. You can see that we have high level of nitrogen dioxide, and we have also high level of the yearly particular 10 level limit. If we compare on the left side Italy cities, on the right side the European city, we don't have big differences between the nitrogen dioxide on a yearly average, but we have high level of particulate matter exceedances for daily, but also for year concentration. And you see Turin compared to Paris or Cagliari or Venice compared to the other. Then we have, for sure, in some cities, a huge problem related to adverse meteorological condition. And then we have the Pianura Padana, and we have low ventilation and mixing air, but we have also a huge concentration of cars in our cities. And you can see here this information with a motorization rate. So in Italy, we have an average of motorization rate that is more than 50 100 car for 1,000 inhabitants, compared to Europe, where we have less than 400. And these are the motorization rate in Italy and in Europe. We have also another problem, that is the modal split. This graph represents how we move in our cities using cars, motorbike, public transport, foot, bicycles, and others. Then we have more than 50% changing by city, by north to south. It is more related to car. Then we have too many cars traveling in our cities. And this is the situation in Europe. Then we have really low percentage of private cars in the Vienna, Stockholm, and other, and a big use of public transport on a bicycles and the foot. Then the problem is the past, and then we need to change our behavior. We need to invest in new infrastructure, and we need to reduce our impact on private cars. I want to finish with just few European best practices that we need to use as a model and need to transfer in Italy. This is Copenhagen, where the city invests a lot in train for bike users. In Amsterdam, there are new bikes bridge and also boat for bikers, and they are investing in new parking areas. London has today more than 8,000 bicycles and a lot of stalls. And you know for sure the project Velib in Paris, that at the moment is really huge, investing also the village around the cities. But it's also important the technology. Then we need to change our technology we use, and we need to close then the endothermic vehicles and start with electric vehicles. And we need to buy new vehicles, but we need to also to create the infrastructure. And London started a lot of years ago. At the moment, they have more than 2,000 charging places. Sorry, 1,000. Then they will reach probably already 2,000 charging places in the city. The public transportation is also an important issue, and a lot of cities define the end of the use of fossil fuel for public transportation. Then we find Paris, London, Copenhagen, also Rome. Then they have to finish the use of endothermic vehicles before 2030. But some cities already started. Then Paris stopped the boats of these diesel bus since 2014. Already Copenhagen, since 2019, all the new buses are zero emissions. And London states that by 2037, all buses will be zero emissions. Berlin is also working in the future of mobility, investing in charging places, and so they state the end of fossil cars in the city by 2050. At the moment, Copenhagen is today at 84% is at zero emission, and before 2025, all the vehicles will be electric. We need to consider all the human activities that are involved in the transportation, that the logistics is also an important aspect of our urban life. And then Paris start the investment on new electric vehicles just for logistics, for goods delivery in the city. Berlin is also using for the inner center electric vehicles. And Amsterdam is also investing on boats for transportation of goods. Then this is just a quick overview of the situation in Europe. Our future is quite interesting because we have the technology, we have the possibility, and we can use also the nature to increase our air quality. So the next 10 years will be really important for us, and all the choice we start to apply now will affect our future. The research is important because with the research, with our study, the policymakers can understand what are the best choice, the best strategies. Then this all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pedracchini. I will give the floor to Valerio to close with the keynotes and give the floor to the chair.
Okay, so we have two very interesting presentations from the two keynote speakers. I wish to thank on behalf of the other members of the scientific committee, I wish to thank both Francesco and Ingrid for their contribution. And now, so we have seen the importance of the sustainability and the importance of a more complete and integrated approach to nature conservation, which has a strong relevance to human health, both in cities and in other environments. And now we will have 3 speakers in this session. I think we can start. And from what we said, there is the other chairman, which will introduce the first one. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you so much, Valerio, for just wrapping up all the interesting, you know, the outcomes and the highlights of the interesting presentations. Now, we really get into the depth of the discussion, I would say, because we just are going to be learning from case studies, from the publications, from really researchers, and what would we be, you know, without them. So the first one that we're going to be focusing on is about heat waves and cardiovascular events in Milano, and that's a geospatial case crossover approach which uses data from emergency medical services. So it might sound complicated, but we're going to be learning about it from Giulia Navarro. This case study has been drawn together by a number of researchers, like besides Giulia Navarro, also Lorenzo Gianquintieri, Andrea Pagliosa, Alessandra Sirvaroli, Giuseppe Maria Secchi, and Enrico Caiani. But I give the floor to Giulia to explain us more and make us enter into their world. Thank you very much.